Okay, we're back here on Under the Ring, introducing one of the biggest women's wrestling stars in the world from WWE. It's the Nightmare, Rhea Ripley. So happy you're with us today.
So I'm happy I'm here too.
All right, thank you. Um, with all the success you've had, at such a young age, I noticed that you've been singled out recently by two women's wrestlers from a previous era. Nikki Bella mentioning liking your work and wanting to work with you on WWE The Bump, and Lita likewise on a TikTok Q&A, I believe it was. What do you think about when you hear something like that?
Man, it's insane. Like it honestly makes me super excited, and for the future as well, because like these things could possibly happen. To step in the ring with the Bellas or Lita, it's honestly like a dream come true, and it's wild to think that they want to step in the ring with me. Like I can't get over it. It's super exciting, and it's I don't know. For me, I look at myself and I'm like, yeah, it's me. Like whatever. I'm used to it. Like I know what I'm capable of, but at the same time, like I don't think that I'm anything too overly special. But like to hear from them that they want to step in the ring with me, it's insane. It makes me super like happy and excited and proud of myself at the same time.
Now you're only 25 years old, if I'm correct on that, but you've been wrestling, I think, for about 8 or 9 years
Yeah,
already,
I've been wrestling for 9. Yeah, time flies.
and and I think about five within WWE. How have you grown, kind of like character wise and wrestling wise over that time? And what kind of things does the WWE Performance Center do for wrestlers on the rise? Maybe the fans don't see.
I've grown up a lot inside and outside of work over the past 5 years. I came here at 20 years old and I was very immature and scared of everything. But over the years, like I've really come into the person that you see today. There was a drastic change in my appearance, and that was just me getting comfortable with who I am as a person, and doing what I want to do instead of trying to please everyone. I went through like growing up, I've always tried to like please everyone and do what people tell me to do, but I learned real quick here that you have to be yourself and you have to do what's right for you. So I think that was a huge learning curve for me, especially at the performance center. Like the training schedule was so grueling. I don't take it back at all. Like it really did help me become so like determined in what I wanted to do. Um, but it was very, very grueling, and you heard a lot of things from a lot of different people, and it all contradicted it at some point. So you really had to like work out yourself before working out what you had to do in wrestling in a way. Um, so that's the one thing that I really learned from there. And then also just like time management and scheduling. Like the schedule that we had was so intense. It was really go, go, go. You had to try and figure out how to put your life together in a good way, of course, but like it taught you all these like life lessons, which were really, really essential.
You mentioned the change in the look. Was that you just kind of becoming you, or was it something that was kind of driven by your wrestling character in particular? Because it just seems like it seems like it's just you kind of turned up.
Yeah, it's definitely just myself. It's the side of me that would probably get arrested if I acted like this in public. But it is definitely me. Outside of work, I am a very, very like nice, humble person. So I think that the side of me that does want to speak up and speak out comes out when I'm in the ring, which is cool to see. I do agree when people say that the best like wrestling character is the character of yourself times 10, and that's exactly who Rhea Ripley is.
And even like with the entrance, I know my brother was always a big fan of that huge stomp that you do every time that you come out. And he'd always point it out to me every time. Look how good it is. Look how hard that one was. It's just like
Yeah.
it seems like, do those kind of details? Are you constantly thinking about that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I get a lot of inspiration from the bands that I listen to. Like, I'm always incorporating things that I like into like my entrance or my gear or something like that. But the stomp actually came from Suicide Silence, their lead singer back in the day, Mitch Lucker. Unfortunately, he passed away, but it's sort of like a tribute to him. He used to do that on stage all the time. So it's the Lucker stomp, and it gets me fired up and it gets me excited, and it also just looks really epic.
Yeah, it's a great entrance. I've always enjoyed that. In terms of the performance center, was there a coach or a trainer or a mentor on your journey that you most specifically like kind of connected to?
Yeah, I mean, there was many there that I did love, but the main one, I will always say this, is Scotty Too Hottie. Um, he was like my wrestling dad. There was a time at the Performance Center where I was extremely depressed and extremely down. And it wasn't just because of work, it was because of life in general as well. And I was in Scotty's class with Raquel Gonzalez, and we were the only two girls in that class of just like straight up men. Um, and Scotty believed in us every step of the way. Every time that he saw that someone was dragging us down, he would pull us aside and like tell us that we were doing fantastic and we were doing great and we were learning every single day, and to keep our chin up and just keep hustling and pushing through. Um, he taught me a lot about this business, and I will forever be grateful to him.
Now, WrestleMania this year is April 2nd and April 3rd at the AT&T Stadium, and of course available on Peacock in the US and WWE Network elsewhere. You've had a very unique WrestleMania journey so far, where you wrestled Charlotte in an empty warehouse, basically in an empty performance center. You wrestled Asuka last year at a stadium that had some attendance, but not quite everything. This year, you're in the women's tag team title match, and it seems like it's going to be the full WrestleMania experience this year. So, what's that going to be like for you, and how excited are you to get to that point?
Oh, I'm super excited. Super, super excited. Like you said, my first WrestleMania was in an empty performance center against someone like Charlotte Flair. And I still had such a great time and such a great match. And it'll be a memory of mine forever. And I was the first person to defend the NXT championship at WrestleMania. I think that's absolutely wild. But to go from that to then last year wrestling Asuka in front of a not fully sold out, but still like epic WrestleMania match where I had the entrance, I had everything, I won the championship, the Raw Women's Championship. To now this, man, I feel like my WrestleMania moments have been so incredible each year. I'm very, very excited for this one. Being able to step in the ring with not just one woman, but like a few different women, and to tag with someone like Liv Morgan. She's a cracker, man. She's really funny. She does she does make me laugh and smile. So I'm glad that she's my tag partner. But I'm very, very excited for this year, and just to feel the excitement back from the crowd as well, and look around and see all the seats full. It's going to be really, really epic.
And it seems with that match, you guys are kind of being called upon to kind of keep this women's tag division rolling along, and it's a pretty high profile match. You would Liv Morgan, Carmella, and Queen Zelina, as well as Naomi and Sasha Banks.
Yeah.
What's it like to kind of have that responsibility? You've been in this division for a little while with Nikki Ash as well, but just to have that kind of a spot on the show to keep women's tag team division and really the women at the forefront of WrestleMania.
I think it's very important. The women's tag team championships, they sort of get looked down upon by a lot of people. Like I see it on social media all the time, and I get it. Like we don't really get good positions on the show, and like our matches are very, very quick. So I think that it is important to put it on WrestleMania and remind everyone exactly what we can do and how much these titles do truly mean. Um, I love the tag titles. I love tag wrestling. I love everything about it. We just got to remind everyone how much they love it as well. And I think that's what we're trying to do.
I think in the opening shot of WrestleMania last year, you were on the stage when Vince McMahon was giving his big proclamation at the beginning, welcoming everyone back. I have to ask this to anybody who has interaction with him. What is Vince McMahon like, and what's your relationship like with him?
He's a very, very busy man. My interactions with him have been positive. He's very helpful, and he's nice to us all, that I've seen, at least. Every time I've run into him, he's been really, really lovely and very, like, to the point, of course, because he is a busy man. Um, but he seems very happy every time that I come back through the curtain, and that's my main point. That's what I try and get out of him, a good old smile. So
Coming from Australia, were you a fan of pro wrestling and WWE growing up? And what do you kind of make of this sort of been an Australian kind of explosion in the business in the last several years?
growing up, yeah, I watched WWE. I loved it. I loved every second of it. I wanted to be a WWE superstar so bad. Um, to see how far Australia has come in wrestling is incredible. When I first started, I didn't even know, like, when I first became a fan of WWE, I didn't know that there was wrestling in Australia, until I found Riot City Wrestling, and then the indie scene, and I got to travel throughout Australia. Um, so it was very, very quiet and small back in the day, but it has definitely grown over the years, and that makes me so happy. And to see so many Australians getting the opportunity to come here and live here in America and be a part of WWE is insane. It's only growing, and I can't wait for it to keep growing and keep getting better, and seeing more Aussies come down here and proving to everyone that we have what it takes and we should be looked at more. I'm very proud of the Australian scene and how hard they're working. And yeah, like I said, I can't wait to see how many of us are here in the future.
Going to go to something we're going to call the 3 count here. So, 3 quick questions and whatever comes to your mind. Funniest wrestler that you have encountered?
Oh, R-Truth. R-Truth every day.
What about him?
Oh, he's just hilarious. He's so quick with, like, comebacks and things to say, and everything that comes out of that man's mouth is hilarious. Like, it really is. He's just a funny human.
On screen too. Your favorite wrestler pre WWE before you became, a WWE superstar?
Oh man, I had a couple. So I loved Triple H, of course, but my all-time favorite was The Miz. Growing up, I loved everything about The Miz. I loved his arrogant attitude. I just love the way that he talked and walked around and thought that he was the top dog, but then also, like, ran away from people like John Cena at times. Like, I don't know. I loved everything about The Miz.
Does he know about that you were a fan of his?
I feel like I've said it on so many interviews and to so many people that he must know. He's never brought it up with me though, and I'm terrified for that day because I don't know what I'm gonna say.
Very nice. And if you weren't a wrestler, what would you be doing?
Man, if I wasn't a wrestler, I would probably be a personal trainer. I studied that in school. I love going to the gym. Like, the gym is my happy place. It's the one place that I love to go every single day. Like, I'm honestly, like, I live there. So I probably would have been a personal trainer. I would have opened up my own gym at some point. Might even happen down the road after wrestling.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us today here on Under the Ring, part of the USA Today Network. Again, Rhea Ripley will be at WrestleMania, which will be on April 2nd and April 3rd. The match for the women's tag team titles on WrestleMania Saturday, I believe.
Yes.
She'll be teaming with Liv Morgan, taking on Carmella and Queen Zelina, as well as Naomi and Sasha Banks. That's at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, and available on Peacock. Rhea, thank you so much for joining me today. Really, really enjoyed the conversation.
No problem. Thanks for having me.